Hello friends, I am Dr. Sudhan Sharma from School of Computers and Information Sciences, Indira Gandhi National Open University, and this session is a conclusive session for the block number 4, and in this session we are going to discuss about the important concepts which we had learned when we are covering block number 4, that is the topics about the vectors, 3-dimensional geometry and linear programming. So, in this session we are going to cover up that block 4, while understanding the concept of block number 4, we learned how to find the sum and difference of two vectors, how to perform the multiplication of vector by a scalar, write the vectors in the component form, and how to use the section formula in geometrical problems. Apart from this, we understood how to define the scalar product or dot product of a vector, determine the angle between the two vectors, and how to find the projection of vectors. Apart from this, we covered the concept of the cross product, that is the vector product of the vectors, and use the cross product to find the areas of the parallelogram and define the scalar product and vector triple products of the vectors. When we were discussing about the 3-dimensional geometry, we understood that how the concept of vectors are extendable to understand the concept of 3-dimensional geometry, wherein we understood how to find the distance between the 2 points, how to apply the concepts of direction ratios and direction cosines to determine the equation of the line passing through 2 points. Apart from this, we understood about the different types of equations of the straight line, the vector form, the Cartesian form, the parametric form, and determined that when the lines are said to be skewed or when the lines are said to be coplanar. We also determined the distance between the skewed lines. After covering the 3-dimensional geometry, we extended the discussion for linear programming, and while covering the concepts of linear programming, we understood what is an objective function, what are constraints, what is a feasible region, and how to find the optimal solution. And we learned how to transform a word statement problem into its mathematical equivalent, and explored the steps to solve the linear programming problem. Finally, we understood also that how to apply the concept of linear programming problem for task minimization also. So, when we were discussing vectors, we covered up the law of triangle law of addition of vectors, and we also covered the parallelogram law of addition of vectors. We proved that how the parallelogram law of addition of vectors and triangle law of addition of vectors are to be determined, are to be proved. And we also found that understood that what is internal section formula and external section formula, what is a section formula, and when the point is dividing the other line into an equal ratio, then how the formula get modifies. All these concepts were covered when we were delivering the concept of section formula in the unit of vectors. We understood that the scalar product of the two vectors is given by their dot product, and how the dot product is determined. We understood it by determining the projection of a vector onto another vector and taking into the consideration the x component of the projection. Thereafter, we also understood that how to find the magnitude of the vectors, and we learned that the magnitude of a vector is equivalent to the square root of the dot product of the vector with itself. And we learned that how to use the concept of the scalar dot product to identify that whether the two vectors are perpendicular or not. And we solved ample number of numericals, and we also learned how to transform the dot product expression into its component form. We also learned about how to find the projection of one vector onto another vector and solved ample number of numericals, and delivered the concept of the vector cross products also. And we learned how we can use the concept of vector cross product to prove that whether the two vectors are parallel to each other or not. So, we also learned that how the concept of vector cross product can be used to determine the area of the triangle and the area of the parallelogram. This was also one of the practical application of the vectors. We extended the concepts of dot product and cross products to the scalar triple products and vector triple products, and we learned about the several properties of the scalar triple product and learned how to apply the properties of scalar triple product and vector triple product to solve different problems. And we learned that the scalar triple product is A dot B cross C, whereas the vector triple product is given by A cross B cross C. And we learned that the different properties of scalar triple product and vector triple product, and we learned that the vector triple product is A cross B cross C is equivalent to A dot C B minus A dot B C. Apart from this, in 3-dimensional geometry, we extended the understanding of the direction ratios and direction cosines, which was covered in the units of the vectors, to determine the equations of the lines also. We determined the distance between the 2 points, and we found that the distance between the 2 points is nothing but square root of x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square plus z2 minus z1 square, where x1 y1 z1 and x2 y2 z2 are the coordinates of the 2 points among which the distance is to be determined. We learned that the L, M, N are the direction ratios which are actually representing the cosine of the angle alpha, beta and gamma subtended by the vector with the positive directions of x, y and z axis. And we also understood that how direction ratios and direction cosines are interrelated. We learned the expression that direction cosine, say L is equal to A is equal to square root of A square plus B square plus C square, M is equal to B upon square root of A square plus B square plus C square, N is equal to C upon square root of A square plus B square plus C square, where L, M, N are direction cosines and A, B, C are the direction ratios. We also explored the important properties like L square plus M square plus N square is equal to 1, and we also learned about how to determine the equations of the straight line, be it into the parametric form or into its Cartesian equivalent or into the vector form. So, we learned about that how to find the equation of a straight line, applied the concept of vectors also onto the 3-dimensional geometry while determining the equations of the straight lines. Thereafter, final unit was about linear programming, and we understood that linear programming is quite a powerful tool for optimization, and it is very much required when we are going for the problems like resource allocation. It is very much applicable into the diverse fields of any area, be it economics or computer science or engineering or physics or whatever. And nowadays in machine learning, network optimization and many more areas, it is highly required. And we learned how to determine the objective function and how to find the constraints, and we learned that this linear programming serves as a powerful method for decision making. The basic steps for linear programming were to formulate the problem, wherein we learned how to define the decision variable, how to define the objective function, how to define the constraints, thereafter how to graph the feasible region and determine the optimal solution. We discussed the optimal concepts both in the formal way of their definition and also applied those definition in formulating the problems. We discussed about the concepts like objective function, constraint, non-negative restrictions, feasible region, feasible solution and optimal solution also. The example problems were given and the examples were literally solved. The mathematical formulations was literally discussed. That how to apply the problem, the linear programming technique to solve the physical world problems, and how to apply the concept of linear programming to solve the problems for cost minimization also. I hope you understood about the concepts which are delivered in the sessions. As a conclusive remark for this course, it is again advised, it is again recommended that go through the self-learning material, watch these sessions in parallel, apply the concepts which are given in their sessions into the problems which are given into the self learning material, solve as many problems as possible so as to have better understanding of the subject. Thank you very much.